Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have David DiBari in the studio today. And those that don't know who Dave is, this guy has his hands in a handful of different pots, if you will. Right, Nooms?
Yeah, so he is the chef owner of the Cookery, the Parlor, and Eugene's Diner. I got to eat at Eugene's Diner not too long ago, and it was an awesome experience. Really enjoyed it.
And Donation.
And Donation, yeah. Well, so I've gotten to eat at Donation because you guys set up next to us at the Best of Westchester.
Wait. So you're telling me nothing sucked?
Literally, at
there
Eugene's.
Had to be one thing that sucked.
At Eugene's, no. I was thoroughly impressed from start to finish. So I
don't believe you.
We got the bread and butter with like the ramp butter or something like that. I think I got the pancakes. My girl got the burger, I want to say. And then we got some stuff to take home for dessert.
That's fantastic.
Dude, it was awesome. It was really awesome. I definitely enjoyed, actually, so I also went to the Cookery, the stick of butter pie.
That's deep.
One of my favorite desserts.
That's a classic. Sure. Oh, thank you, man.
Absolutely.
All right. So it's off for a good start.
Yeah, tell us your story.
So how did you get started with so many different concepts?
Because I'm stupid, first and foremost. Look, you're passionate about, where I come from, I'm passionate about just about everything that has to do with my kitchens and my restaurant and my business, and it's hard to like control the different things that you want to do.
Right.
And sometimes you just can't do it in one spot. So like you kind of like, I don't want to say you get bored because I'll never be bored at any one of my places.
I know what you mean though.
It you want to do something different. You gotta. It
becomes time to try something new.
It's time to evolve. Time to let people around you evolve and like create things so that not only it's not just for you, but like, you got you guys who work for you who want to like, maybe they want to go work for somebody else, but why not? You could work for us because we're a great company and we're going to do something different. We're always going to push the boundaries and the limits and do whatever we can. So that I'm very passionate about doing. So therefore, you then realize that your passion supersedes your actual thought process of how you're going to do things, right? And like, really, did you ever really think it out when you're opening 3 different restaurants, 3 different concepts? It's kind of stupid, but
it's adventurous.
Yeah, right. So regardless of any of that, we're in it now. So now what the fuck do we do? Right. So, yeah, I guess that's a good reason.
Opening so quick together with things is pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
Talk about the Cookery opening in 2009. Then you go into the Parlor 2013, and here we have Eugene's and Donation in between all that in 2011 too. Is like, it's crazy to see work ethic where rapid expansion kind of just happens. It's like you weren't sitting on your hands whatsoever. You were just planning the next steps, it seems like, the whole while.
Yeah. I want to say it worked that way, but it kind of never did. I kind of do things sometimes without a reason. I mean, I know what I want to go do, but like sometimes if you're out there and you have something in the back of your head, it's like you're driving around and you see this space and the space is that's where that's going to go, and then you kind of like, that starts to build the energy of making that project work. But yeah, like here's a good story actually. So like when I opened the Cookery, I really wanted a Neapolitan wood-fired pizza oven in it. All right, and so I'm a stupid kid who's opening his first restaurant. Doesn't like, I don't even know what I'm like. Honestly, had no idea what we were doing, and but we soon realized that wasn't going to happen with whatever small money we had in our pocket to make this thing happen, and the size of the restaurant, and the fact that we never built anything out before. So like, I was dreaming that oven was going to be in there, and then, it didn't. So in the back of my head, like, I did need to have that. 2 years into the Cookery, I had this idea. I met this guy who's building these ovens, and we decided, like, it's time to have a food truck. And for a reason also, because the Cookery we were so small, we couldn't do a lot of catering, and I didn't really like to do a lot of catering at that point. It wasn't my thing. Like, I don't like buffets. I'm like a hot, fired up chef, blah, blah, blah. I don't do that shit. You'll say that. They don't realize that that's where the money is. But yeah, after that, it takes me a while. But so we said, let's make our catering this wood-fired mobile pizza oven that then we can then, kind of become more part of the community with farmers markets and, selling to people and going to farmers markets and festivals and just, being almost sort of a great thing to almost, donation. You know what I mean? That's it's DOUGH Nation, and generally we like to donate, and we actually donate 2% of all of our profits to a different donation every year.
Well, that's pretty cool. Jay was talking about that. I didn't know that. That's where the name came from.
And you know, anyway, so it's just a great thing to have and a great thing to cater with. So, yeah, I got my pizza oven and it was mobile. And
How often is that thing out on the go actually handling catering?
you know, during the busy season, which is basically the summer all the way to fall, we could have 2 or 3 parties on a Saturday, a farmer's market on a Saturday, a farmer's market on Sunday morning, and then another 2 or 3 parties. And it's all really about the weekends, and then we're off doing something else, 1 or 2 pops during the week. But yeah, it keeps us busy.
Sure.
Yeah.
And two, food trucks are all over the place at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What's the food truck gathering that happens down in Queens and Brooklyn?
Not Smorgasburg.
Smorgasburg.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is that something that you ever look to even take part in or do some type of special event just for fun?
No, those things are. I feel like we have such like a good presence where we are, and we enjoy doing that, like just kind of moving around and doing a farmer's market and kind of picking, choosing where we want to be, and sort of being part of the community. And you really do get a lot of great business and a lot of repeat business, and it feels good. Like I don't actually feel the need to go worry about like Brooklyn or New York City or.
Sure. We're building Westchester.
Yeah, exactly. As well, are you guys?
Also, too, in the talks of, while we're on subject of the food trucks, how much of, I guess, a bitch is it to get the permits required to set up in all these various locations? Is that...
I didn't find it to be that problematic or hard.
Is that as simple as filling out the application? And
Yes. I mean, it's really basic stuff. I mean, you're setting up a small business. There's tax. There's everything else, and see, every jurisdiction is different. Like you may show up to an event, but you're gonna have to go through the sort of the rules and regulations of where you are, and you'll have to probably file a separate permit for them. There's little things, insurance, all that stuff. It's a lot of back end shit, but it wasn't that difficult to get permits at all. Health department, standard stuff.
yeah. Now, opening the cookery first.
Mind you, that was like 7 years ago. So.
Yeah, sure. Going into the cookery first after you left under Mario Patali, right?
Yeah.
Was that a smooth transition right into the cookery? Or was there some time in between that when you were kind of figuring out the business plan and where you're going?
Long after Mario working for the Babo, that was quite a ways back. Since then, I had actually was the chef of Zupa in Yonkers for a while, 5 years before I actually opened the cookery. So, that's what I was doing. I was quite a bit of time, probably a good almost, let's say 5, 6, 7 years at that point.
And then going into the cookery, you must have had this plan for maybe a year or so at least, developing all the ideas and imagery.
Honestly, but see, it's funny, like, I always say, like, it's really hard to plan shit because shit never goes as planned, And then you just gotta do it, and then you gotta do it better, right? Yeah. Like so, I remember sitting, I would come home from Zupa late at night, and I would bang out this business plan. I'd work on it every night, for a year. To your point, and it was grand. It was big. It was the, investor kind of place. It was, it had everything that I wanted to have, and right on paper. And then you're looking at space, and you're actually getting to understand like what rents are and how things work. And so I'm looking for space, and I finally realized, well, there's nothing that I can afford. So, we sort of ended, real estate agent showed us a place in Dobbs Ferry, this little spot. It was Austin's Steakhouse, I think. And it was just like this tiny little thing, and didn't cost what to us was a shit ton of money, by the way, but it really wasn't anything in the restaurant world. So we just figured this is the place that we can make work. But it was never going to be what I had on paper. Not even close. It couldn't even come close to it. So that's why we ended up taking the space. And also, a very small story, a very good friend of mine, you guys know Peter Kelly, right? Mm-hmm. So he's always the last word on shit I do, because he's like, very close and supportive of me. So actually my mother said, "Why don't you go ask Peter what he thinks?" that's how it works.
He's the consigliere.
Yeah. So, he's like, "I know the space." He's like, "Do it. It's you. It's what you need to do. What you do." And I was like, "Okay." So
Peter said it was cool.
Peter said it was cool. The cookery.
Signed on the dotted line there.
That's funny. We have such similar stories you hear from like person to person. It's kind of the same thing. Like you have a crazy idea, and then reality sets in, and that's the idea.
We were talking last week about budgets and whatnot, and Justin is redoing the smokehouse in New Rochelle and moving across the street into a larger facility here.
Nice.
And we were talking about the budgets, and exactly same thing, grand scheme plans, and then of course reality check.
Yeah, when we opened New Rochelle in 2007, we thought we had all this money, just like you said. We're like, "Oh, this is more money than I've ever seen in my life," and it quickly it was not a lot of money, and all the ideas that we had changed, and now we're trying to build towards a different direction now. But
how much, 2009's after financial crisis here too. That was kind of a good time to pick up a lease on a restaurant. I feel like, no?
Yeah, it was. And not that I really had any idea.
Sure.
That wasn't what I was thinking, right?
Yeah.
In fact, actually, to be quite honest, another story is that my attorney at the time, who was representing me on everything with the restaurant and whatnot, he begged me. He begged me not to do it.
Really?
Like he was trying to really. He was like, this is not the time to do this. I'm telling you, you're first. No, don't. And I was stubborn, but it paid off.
Nice.
Yeah.
How much has the cookery evolved, I guess, over time since you originally opened it with that first concept that you kind of actually brought to the table to, what we see in there now?
Yeah, if you think about like what your first menu looked like compared to where it is now.
Shit. We evolved so much, and so I feel like we've done so many different things. But it's not too far off. It'll never be far off in terms of what's in the soul and what people will know they're going to get there. So that's the easy part, right? But I think, as a chef, you change and evolve and influence like all the time too. So like those kind of show up, in stages of the restaurant. And I think that's kind of fun, like I remember there's a time when I was super into like Fergus Henderson and I still am. And to think that like that restaurant, St. John, is like that inspired me so much. It's soulful British food, and when I was so into him, that's when the cookery started to go from not just a soulful Italian, but just bringing in a little bit of something from everywhere else that really like fell into our basket, which was always sort of pushing the boundaries a little bit and doing the things that maybe some people were afraid to do, like, and that's what Fergus was doing, right? So that we just kind of like built on that pretty hard, and then and I think now it's changing into something that's a little bit lighter, a little bit fresher, but still with the same soul, and but never like really compromising in our integrity whatsoever. Like it's always going to be deep. Like that's what you're going for. It's deep, but we're just kind of like nodding to the things that even now as a human that we're going through, whether it be health reasons or sort of like just changing as an adult and as a person. Right. I think it just finds its way into the cuisine and the brand. So
I like that.
We do see, I think, a lot of these polls, and like you just said, with health in general, I can't walk up to a handful of food trucks because it's fried everything, and I'm like, where's the health conscious side of this? Like, I just shed 30 pounds. I'm trying to keep this down, right? Like, I did just order a zucchini salad yesterday, which I would never do in a million years.
How was it?
It was fantastic. Oh, beautiful vinaigrette. And this thing, I felt super healthy. I almost wanted to go outside and do 50 push-ups real quick. But these are things that we see that start reflecting in menus where, like, it's not just all overweight things. Now, do you see this jumping into the parlor where it is really more pizza dough heavy and whatnot? And are people asking for salad pies? Like,
here's what I'll tell you. I think each restaurant, everything is affected by that, and because it's a really, really profoundly huge part of us as a society right now, and I understand a lot of it. I'm really close to it. I get it, and there's a lot of research that says this is all 8 of these fucking specialty diets, these new diets work. I get it, but then like they also don't, and we'll never ever know, right? So that's the way I look at it, and but people are going, and they're you don't know if you're serving keto, or you don't know if you're a certain celiac or gluten free or whatever. I think people expect nowadays, because of technology and having more information, and it's so rapid, and to get things that are for whatever they're into at that time, and I don't because there's so many, and I understand that, and we always go above and beyond where we can, but it's crazy because we're on our toes about it. We're thinking about it. We have to, right? Like it's not a bad thing, but it's like we're working harder at that right now, and it's not easy.
It's tough too because it changes so quickly. Yeah. Like from one year to the next year, it's keto right now is like a thing, and then it could change. Yeah. And you fight the urge to say like, no, this is who we are. I'm sticking to. Yeah. I'm gonna do this. You'll come around and come back. But then at the same time,
you got to have an option for everybody. Otherwise, you're just alienating people.
I also think we offer. When I look at my menus, I feel like when you actually break down dishes like we do, those things are offered. They're offered. Like sometimes it just takes the waiter to steer them in the right direction, or build it a little differently if they can. And because not everything has everything, and there's things that we can do, and I think that's also part of dealing with that. I'm just not a big fan of I could probably go vegan tomorrow. It sounds crazy because I do love meat, and I know you do, and maybe I couldn't, but I like vegetables. Yeah. Like vegetables are so fucking good. Like a wood roasted vegetable. The oven at the Parlor is like, it's like candy. It's like amazing. It's like, it's so much depth, and it's like, so eat a fucking vegetable. Eat a fucking vegetable. It's good. It's delicious.
I feel that. I gotta be honest.
Why do I have to turn it into something else? Like take the fucking cauliflower, turn it into a pizza crust. It's like, eat the fucking vegetable. It's so good.
The time since I started at Manhattan over a little over a year and a half now, I've started to appreciate vegetables a lot more, coming from working at Smokehouse where we were just dealing with smoked meats and other barbecue stuff and burgers and wings and whatnot. But like the simple treatment of a mushroom when you treat it properly, it's fucking delicious. You don't need meat when you have a plate full of mushrooms.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah, it's nice.
Listen, I'm down on that, but you don't need meat.
Sometimes you don't. Some of the if a vegetarian comes in or a vegan comes in, we'll often just make a plate of food just for them, like Jorge was talking about. We accommodate people like that. But some of the veg plates we put out there look nicer than the steak plates, I gotta be honest. You just take a whole bunch of vegetables, treat them nicely, and that's it. That's all you need.
But can I ask, have you feel the effect of this whole beef in the rainforests and have you felt a hit of that? Have you felt people not come,
Well, like you said, it's on our mind. Yeah. I think our base, we've kind of be able to create like our brand a little bit, so the people are looking for that, or people that are coming in. But it's definitely on our mind. Maybe not so much the plant-based stuff, because we're curious how do we stay barbecue, like true barbecue, and then also have like this whole plant-based idea. Maybe we have to figure out how to make it still a smokehouse, still us when we do it. But we have like adjusted to start doing the bowls. Like we do like a barbecue bowl. So we kind of take all of the excess stuff out of the barbecue and just get down to the protein, the vegetable, and
that's great,
and like the starch, and put it together. And it hits at lunch, especially when people are trying to just get in and get out and have something light. It's hard with barbecue because it's so heavy.
Yeah, it is what it is.
You can't.
It's so delicious.
I'm gonna have a full rack of ribs and then go back to work. It's probably not gonna happen. But we have to adapt a little bit like that. So
what's the average time that somebody has during a lunch break here? Is it an hour or so? By the time you actually get to the place, you've got a half hour left. So yeah, when you started posting these bowls up, I said, "Oh, it's a great get out." And for you, that's important to get more people in the door, right?
Yeah, it's just simplifying it down to like the raw ingredients and trying to present it that way.
Now
I like a barbecue bowl. I kind of want a barbecue bowl.
Let's go. We'll leave the meat out. So, right, 2009 is the Cookery. We just talked about that a little bit, rustic Italian food there. And then you said, no, I love pies, though. Let's get the Parlor going, right? 2013?
Yep.
Donation somewhere in between there, though. So
right, so it was Cookery, then Donation. So we were, operating out of there, and that was our, And then there was, I think because of the success of that, and that we really got great, amazing feedback, we said there was a space available in Dobbs, and it was a small space, and I kind of looked at it, and it kind of felt like it should be that little pizza spot. And so we decided to, put the same oven, same style right into that location.
And they are very much brother-sister restaurants from that kind of almost gritty aesthetic to some extent.
Yeah, totally. The Parlor's like, I always say it's like Neapolitan pizza in a Lower East Side punk venue.
The first time I walked in there, I order a pizza, I sit down, and I order a drink, and we'll come back to this in a second, but the drink was already pre-batched for me in a little flask-like bottle. I think it actually was the bee's knees. But then I get the pie, and it's presented with these scissors, and scissors just cutting the pie up right here. Where'd that come from?
I mean, it's fucking common sense. I got so much fucking shit for that. And now they fucking love it.
It does make sense.
Dude, first of all, you cut it in any size you want, right, to start. And then it's like, when you've just about, had enough and you're not going to do anymore. I actually watched someone do this at the bar yesterday that I was talking to. It was fantastic. You do that, you just snip a little sliver, right? And then you eat that, right? And then like 2 minutes later, you just snip a little sliver, right? Until the whole fucking thing is gone. But I think it's playful. It's kind of, it's a little, gets the customer a little bit more in touch with the kitchen in terms of being, hands-on, and it just makes it common sense. And some people have said to me, all right, you know what really inspired me? Fuck it. You ever see Cobra? Stallone.
What is this, 80 something?
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
Come on, the dude walks in with his black sunglasses and his black jacket, and he's like sort of this cop, and he's got this ratty apartment. He kind of walks in all straggly late at night, opens the refrigerator, takes out a box of pizza, sits down at his desk, open the box, takes his scissors, and cuts the fucking pizza and starts eating it.
And that was it for you?
This is it.
That's it.
That's where this whole thing stems from.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, too, how about like hospitality, right? And on that side, maybe you have some older clientele that walk in, they want a slice of pizza, you present them the scissors. Are they like, guy, can you take this shit back to the kitchen and cut it for me?
No. Yes, in the beginning, yes.
And
now no. People ask for them. People want them. It's fun. They get it. They're into it. They're very much into it.
So you make your own lane and you retrain the people to expect something else.
Yeah.
Which
like
is
best case scenario.
Which is important in restaurants in general. I mean, let's circle back to you here, Just. When you develop the delivery counter, so not the delivery, the pickup, the takeout counter, right? Mm-hmm. People were coming in to pick up their orders so often that it was kind of, I guess, just becoming not a nuisance, but in the way of the actual service, where you put this thing in the front of the restaurant where people could just come, pick up their stuff, be out just like that, no?
Are you referencing Mamaroneck or New Rochelle?
Mamaroneck.
Okay, yeah. Because New Rochelle was the pickup counter first.
Yeah.
And then we built the restaurant around it. But yeah, Mamaroneck was that way, where we had everything at the bar, but then eventually the first idea was to have everybody walk through the whole restaurant.
All the way, like the full length of the restaurant.
We wanted them to see the whole place, so we want to make them walk all the way to the back, but then it just became inconvenient, so we put it in the front.
But in restaurants, as an owner or somebody that's looking to speed up the service, you do have to kind of retrain people into rethinking it and looking at things a little bit differently, where they weren't used to walking up and just getting their bag. All of a sudden, they were just like, oh, there's a normal practice now. Like, oh, I'm just going to cut this scissor pizza up real quick. Or, for instance, sitting down at your bar, getting the bee's knees in the flask, and I was like, it's pre-batched. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And does that come down to kind of just speeding up the service for the bar, or?
I don't like to. All right, so it definitely does, and the taste, the bar is small. It's like, honestly, like, it's my favorite bar to hang out. I don't, it's like, I feel like I'm in like a really dive bar in Brooklyn, and I love being there, even during the day. But
like the graffiti, steel on the back. That's nice.
But I think that what were you asking me? What was the question?
I was saying just retraining people and then sitting at the bar and getting the flask with the bee's knees.
Yeah, it's tight as shit back there. So like, I want to say that it was built because I don't want to say it was built. What I'm saying is it's good for it, but really the idea behind it is that you as a chef, right, and me as a bartender, or vice versa, is that we're gonna collaborate and make this drink, and it's going to be the same every time because we put some love in it, and then you put in these cute little flasks, and then guess what? It's a little bit easier for the bartender, and a lot of fun for the customer. So that's why we went that route.
How often are these flasks walking out the door? Are you ordering boxes of these things every 3 weeks?
That.
I feel like that can be a common
there's a
problem.
percentage that does leave the building. How much I really don't know, but it's not killing us.
And eventually that might become a tax that's put on to bills at the end of the day, you know? But speaking of the tax too, you've instilled this 3% food only surcharge into, is it all of the restaurants?
Yeah.
Which is great. And we talked on that a little bit last week or the week before, and Just, you could pick up on this, I'm sure.
Which part of it?
Oh, talking about the 3% surcharge, in which this goes back to the kitchen, and you were discussing that. You were thinking about
and
yes.
stuff like that. Oh, yeah. Well, we've always struggled with the idea of the kitchen being so important in the restaurant, because that's why people are coming. Like, we tell our servers, you can go out and get a rack of ribs or a cheeseburger or a pint of beer anywhere, but if you don't enjoy the experience, you're going to go somewhere else the next time. If the food is always good, though, that's what's going to bring people back as well. And there's that, we were talking about the wage gap in between, like front of house servers tend to get
more money than the
than the back, and they're the ones that are kind of like the consistent product. So we're always trying to look for a way to even that out without breaking the bank.
Well, Danny Meyer started it with the no tipping, and that was how he was going to. Well, he's doing what he's doing. How much it's working for the rest of the people doing it, I don't think. I actually listened to an amazing podcast, Freakonomics, and there was a discussion on that, and it definitely didn't work out on a grand scale or change things, which is unfortunate because I think it's a really great idea. I can imagine a counting nightmare.
That's the first thing I thought.
But yeah,
think about it.
I don't think it works up here. I don't think it would work for us, because we were looking into it, and but really, I spoke to a gentleman who I'm sure you all know, Bill Taibbi in Westport, who owns Jessup Hall and the Well Cookery. He kind of started it in Connecticut, and I talked to him a lot about it in depth, actually, and I knew we needed people in Westchester. He knew there needed to be people in Westchester doing this, and I said, this seems to be the answer. So this is something that we can do. Like, we're food focused, and everyone can do it together. And I think, it adds a lot of incentive to the kitchen. It really gives them another reason to be there, but to also work harder and evolve themselves and to bring the restaurant together collectively as a group. Because it's not all about one person. It's not about the chef. It's about everyone. And if we can kind of like bridge that gap just a little bit, I think it would be awesome. And my wait staff, I know, are so into it because we're a team, and they know what we put into it, and we all respect each other, and no one's really affected by it. We're all in it together, and it bridges it just a little bit. It bridges it just a little bit, and feels good for everybody.
You probably get people, especially to take a little more ownership in it, knowing that that's
exactly
the driving force.
Exactly.
Jay was worried that the wait staff would actually react adversely to it and be put off that would actually come out of their money in some way.
So I was going to say, now on the service side of things, and having 3 restaurants that are actively doing such, is there something that the servers are kind of prepared to tell a person that goes, what the hell is this 3% kitchen charge that I'm getting hit with here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's to let them know the story about how, this is for our hardworking kitchen staff who breaks their ass every day. They don't say it just like that. This is for them. It's not a gratuity. It is basically an addition to your food portion only of the check, and super into it. That's basically what they roll with.
And to add to what Justin just said, on the West Coast, apparently there's showing up a lot more frequently in a lot more places, and through the forums, there's wait staff that are just complaining and saying this extra 3% is coming out of my 20% tip that I get at the end of the night.
Really?
But I mean, these are just gripes people have at the end of the day, right?
I mean, and listen, I've had people like not be into it, and for one thing, you know, it's only on the food portion of your bill, and if we actually fuck up, which we fuck up, you know, we take it off. It's like, if it's our mistake, it's our mistake, you know. But you know, I've had a few customers here and there at each of the restaurants who just don't understand it or don't get it, and you get that. Oh, why don't you just pay them more? Well,
let me explain to you.
Yeah. Because the minimum wages are going up. There's a whole nother discussion, and labor laws are changing immensely, and it's really not in anyone's, at least a business owner's, favor. But you know, and prices of product consistently go up all the time, and there's only so much you can charge. That's just kind of like the whole bucket of like all that right there. Let's sum that up. But yeah, we've had people say, just pay your staff more, or just raise your prices. The math we've done shows that like for a 3% on, you know, a $30 check or whatever it is, you would feel it a lot more if we raised the prices a lot more.
Yeah.
And I can't afford to do that. I don't want to do that. Like, that's not who we are. So it's hard to keep up with everything that's going on, working on very small margins, as we all know.
I mean, at some point with inflation, burger prices will just go to $20, and nobody will feel it anymore. But you can't be the first guy that starts paving the way to be like, yeah, we've got $20 burgers here. Come check this place out. So then
there's a $20 burger out there. I'm positive.
Oh, there certainly is.
Yeah, there is.
For sure.
Sure. So you're pre-batching now, and a little bit at the Parlor here, and then we go into Eugene's 2019.
What was the sentence that Rock said you gave him? What was the?
You wanted that dessert case right in the middle for everybody to see.
No, he said there was a sentence. He said when we were talking about the design.
When you're talking to Rocco?
Yeah, when we were talking to Rocco.
By the way, I love Rocco. Rocco, if you're listening. No,
we actually grew up down the street from each other.
Did it really?
Rocco and I.
Really?
Yeah, we've known each other for like 30 years.
Talking about what he said to describe.
Yeah, what he said
it
was like a badass something.
Yeah, a badass 70s diner, like in somebody's basement or something like that.
What do I say?
It was the rotisserie display with the cakes. No,
Let me think about that.
It was something along those lines. He was describing what you said to him to
Roadside diner meets 70s basement, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. That's a cool concept. Like, why was that so important to you?
I think it's sort of okay. So first, we're designing another restaurant, and then I didn't know what to do with the design. Had no clue. First initial in my head is sort of like a rustic. What's that place? Johnny Rockets. Yeah, like sort of like retro-y, a little bit brighter, but like somehow tie in like, you know, brick and you know, some barnwood or something. And then I'm like, wait a second, this sucks. I think my wife said, my wife said this sucked too. Yeah, where are we going with this thing right now? This is just awful. And let's throw out the barnwood and the pipes and all that shit, and what do we do? And we started to think about, like, you know, where diners were really awesome and things were really fun, and sort of where the years we were born in, and kind of growing up with a lot of that in our homes and whatnot, of that decor in the 70s. And I'm like, yeah, let's roll with this. This is going to be fun. And you know what's even going to be better is that everyone's going to fucking hate it. they're gonna fucking hate. It's disgusting. It's so bad. Like how many times have you seen that cheap fucking wood paneling and just want to rip it off? You know how many people are like, you want mine? But you know, that's kind of what we do.
That's great.
I said, let's just own this.
We touched on it last week, how the trends do change over time, and like everything has kind of just become a super mashup of all of the trends over the last like 10 years, where it's like bring in the wood, bring in the metals, bring in all these things. And then I was saying that the number one rated bar in the world right now in New York City here is literally just a super minimalistic cafe with a dope cocktail program. So I work across the street a couple nights at, what is it? McShane's.
Where do you work?
Oh, really?
Get out of here. Where do I work? So sometimes your guys come in and they come check me on Sunday night. And I said, let me go return the favor and go check them out.
Now I have to come on Sunday night. This is fantastic.
But sure enough, I had a couple of minutes to spare. So I went over and I walked in for the first time after they've been explaining to me this place. And I was like, sounds kind of crazy. Yeah, all right, let me check this out. So I walk up to the door after not realizing where it actually was. And I go, this is kind of cool looking. I walk in, and as Rocco explained last week, this little vestibule entrance kind of condenses on you, and then it opens back up again. I sat at the bar, and I wound up ordering the bone broth, which was served in this beautiful little teacup ordeal, right? That was a great way to have a freezing cold day. That was like our first winter storm that we had. But then to walk in and like just sit down and look around, I said, this is super minimalistic. Like this is literally like an old school diner, but wait, there's like 25 taps in front of me and like a full scale liquor program going on here. Was that actively one of the things that you were looking to do, is be able to promote this new age style of saying, hey, you could get a cocktail here, it's safe.
Yes.
This is a diner that you can do that.
Yes. It really, you know, a diner at heart really is about community and like everyone coming together, and, you know, whether it's a cop, fireman, and, you know, somebody that got arrested by the cop sitting next to him the day before, whatever it is, you know, everyone's there together. They're coming from church. They're coming afterwards from their parties in high school. And all this. We all did that, right? Like, but I feel like a diner is that kind of community place, and there's a little something for everybody. And yes, and just to take that feeling and then give it that a little bit elevated, you know, and really at heart, it's a diner-inspired restaurant, really. But I'm owning fucking diner and bar because that's where we are at heart. And, you know, so that I think the idea is to not only come in and get a griddle burger or a fried bologna sandwich, but you can also have really deep bone broth and an amazing salad and, hey, add caviar, you know, and who doesn't want breakfast all day long?
Yep.
So you can kind of have whatever you want there, in the sense that not whatever you want, but however dirty you want to be or however bougie you want to be, you can do it. And so there's a little something, again, something for everyone. But yeah, that's how we came up with that.
It's funny too, the diner concept, because like you said, we've all been there at one point or the other. After, like, I have childhood memories in a diner, different from restaurant memories. It's just like somewhere you go, and it probably connects because so much of how we eat comes from like your childhood too. Like I have so many memories from childhood eating something, and now all of a sudden that's like a comfort. It might not be everybody's comfort food, but it's just something. Like, for instance, shredded lettuce on my cold cut sandwich. I'm like, I have to have shredded lettuce because my Uncle Tommy's Deli in Boston did shredded lettuce, and it's stuck in my head. Like, I used to sit on his lunch counter, eat his sandwich and shredded lettuce, and it brings you back. The same kind of thing with the diner. Maybe subconsciously you sit there and it just reminds you of something, but elevated. That's cool.
Now, out of these,
Sorry, there wasn't a question.
By the way,
that's a hard statement.
Thank you. But by the way, we put shredded lettuce on our pastrami sandwich, and I get shit for that every once in a while. But it's so fucking good.
Nah, you need shredded lettuce.
Good.
Love shredded lettuce.
All right, thank you. By the way, so we're on the same. Okay, we're on the same page about shredded lettuce.
So, you know, having 3 restaurants hard that are open consistently, right?
Yep.
And you've got the donation truck too, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you not spread yourself so thin? amongst keeping all of these things in order? I mean, do you have the strongest team in the world to make sure that
I like to think
things
so.
are executed?
I do actually. I think that that's probably the most important thing. You can't operate without it. It's you have to make them you and you them. It's like you're a family at the end of the day, right? So you've got to really coddle that team oriented and sort of in each individual and as a group together. You have to coddle that because that is so important, or you don't do shit. And you have to have good people around you, like whether it's your wife or it's mine, and support staff and consultants and people who you can rely on all the fucking time, like whether it's Peter Kelly or
sounds like a good personality.
Yeah. So you got to have people around you in personal and in business and in your locations, employees.
At what point did you learn to be able to just relinquish some control and put trust in somebody else? I think that's the biggest issue with ownership a lot of times, is where they can't trust somebody else to carry out the execution.
Yeah, when I realized that if I didn't, I was going to fucking fail. No, that is a part where like you think about, like, you really do need people, but really it's about having that right person, and that right person is not easy to find. So in each one of my restaurants, like, we have a chef and a manager who not only, and I don't even want to say just chef manager, the whole employees, they really are like, sometimes we feel like they are us, like they get us, we get them. It just feels right. And I feel like we sort of, that kind of like migrates to us for some reason. And I don't know what it is, but I guess it's the energy that we set every day for ourselves. And that's hard to control sometimes, but I think there's a great energy and people enjoy working for us, and we enjoy the people that work for us as well. So
how much freedom do the chefs at each restaurant have as to what you're serving? I
personally, like, each restaurant has its brand, and obviously I'm sort of anal about a lot of things, right? But really at the end of the day, it's not that I want them to, it's that I need them to. I need them to be creative. I need them to step up. I need them to evolve. I need them to try new things. I need them to push me harder because I'm falling behind. I need them to be everything. And yeah, I give them, look, you can't go too far out of like the Italian gastropub, right? Or you can't go too far out of, well, the diner, I can do it really what the fuck, right? That was probably one of the reasons I did the diner. That was like, all right, fuck this, let's do Chinese today. So let's just say the cookery, but let's just dig deeper in that box and get some new stuff and just keep changing all the time. We have to.
I like that you kind of wrote off the city earlier. Not necessarily wrote off, but you said we don't have to worry about what's happening in the city. Let's just worry about what we're doing here. And that kind of ties into what you just said too, is like, let's just push the boundaries and do unique shit. It doesn't have to be all the same all the time. And like the attitude that you have of Eugene's is pretty fun, right? It's like, I'm just going to do something, it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, we learn from it and we move on to, the next experiment, if you will.
Exactly. And, listen, our restaurant group, if you will, and our motto is eat serious, have fun. If you email someone, you're emailing someone at yada, 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 eat serious, have fun. And like, that's what we breed. That's what we, in all the restaurants. So,
do you have that website set up as well, or no?
Oh, I think we're almost there, but yeah, we're working.
It feels like an Easter egg website, kind of, right? Okay, so that eat serious, have fun. When you're bringing people on board, you're talking to them, you're kind of gauging their personality, you're seeing if they're somebody that could adhere to the values of the company, really. Mm-hmm. What are some of those things that you look for that are kind of notable off the back, is maybe like a red flag that says,
I like it if they like punk rock.
That's a gem.
Yeah, that sort of, It's a big one.
That's like a theme.
That's a good interview question to ask.
Yeah.
And Anthony Bourdain had the same, right? He was all about
Something about punk rock, yeah.
I forgot the band that he was into.
No Effects, Rancid, and all these. Are you hiring, by the way?
Don't forget about the Jukebox Romantics, local punk rock band.
Is
Best
that
ever? Yeah.
nice? Okay,
That was their plug.
Jukebox Romantics. I'll look that up.
don't worry, that's going to be inserted into this.
I hope so.
But as you are hiring somebody too, like, what's something you're definitely not looking for? That's when you're interviewing, or are you not even really doing the interviews at this point? You're
There's the
somebody
no
else be
dick rule.
trusted.
The no dick rule. Just don't be a dick.
It's a good rule.
Right?
Fair.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
Oh, nobody's just coming up to the interview just as a full-on dick.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I was about to say, you'd be surprised.
I've interviewed some dicks.
You don't know
you know
the
what?
attitude you're going to get until you actually sit down and start talking
We
to
really,
somebody,
I think the hardest thing and the one thing we look for is passion. So, and that's hard to gauge sometimes, but that's what you really want, because that person is on board with what you're going to be doing every day, and they want to grow with you, and they want to evolve with you, and hopefully do things together. Like, that is what passion.
And in the spirit of growth too, right? We're up to 3-4 places now, we could say, I guess. Future. We're 2019 now. We're into 2020. It looks like in about 2 years we might be to another restaurant.
We're into 2020.
No.
2019.
Oh, I'm saying with Eugene's at 2019.
I'll leave it at this. We'll see, but I'm just gonna try to figure these 3 fucking things out first, and then we'll see what happens.
Well, is it mechanics that occurs where after the first one, the second one, you start to kind of put together this rubric where then into opening the third one, you're kind of following the rubric for the most part, so you could start steamrolling into, full-fledged 8, 10, 15 restaurant group at some point, or?
Are you trying to give me anxiety? What the fuck is
That's just the way he talks.
My motto is think big. That's all I got.
That's the way he talks.
Jesus Christ.
Always.
You have some water?
Yo, but so this year you guys kind of accomplished something big, being 2 restaurants getting Michelin recognition. How did that feel? Were you expecting that? Was that out of nowhere?
I'm so happy you brought that up, because before when we were having this conversation, I got lost somewhere, and that was something I wanted to bring up. And you were talking about fucking the city, like not worrying about the city,
right.
and then it was making me think of that. But yeah, so thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was fucking huge. Like I really, here's the story. I'm sitting there with Megan, my manager at Eugene's. I think it was it might have been a Monday.
Yep.
We were doing something off hours, like at the bar, and I see a Twitter notification, and I don't even use Twitter. I'm like, not even ever, never. It's an awful place. It pops up. I don't know why, and it says, Chef DiBari and Cookery, and it says Michelin something, and I'm like, Megan, can you look on Twitter and see if this is a thing? So she looks up on her phone. She's like, yeah, this is real. And she's like, and Eugene's too. And I'm like, what? So it was really awesome that they came out of the city, recognized an amazing county, Westchester County, where we actually do have a significant amount of talented restaurants, tours, chefs, cooks, doing really progressive shit. And it's been happening for a long time now, and it's getting better and better. So, for them to recognize what we're doing collectively up here is really amazing. It's good for the county. It brings people love food and drink, and they love places to go, and it's a beautiful Hudson Valley, and it draws a lot of people here, and they should be amazing restaurants, and they are amazing restaurants. And I think it's so much easier and sort of more fun here in Westchester than having to be, in the city.
It's a lot more competitive in the city. It's a
yeah.
lot more hustling and just the need to get things done all the time.
It's kind of horrible. And plus, I think you can actually do, honestly, I'm not to get deep into numbers and details, but, I'm a small guy. Like, I'm not looking to be a millionaire off this fucking thing. It's not who I am. So, I don't. Where are we going with this?
Talk about Michelin recognition.
Yeah, but why was I talking about?
You were saying that it's a different competition in Westchester than the city is.
Yes. So like small guys. So like I don't. So my restaurants are small. I'm a single owner operator. You know, you can almost do better for yourselves if you're doing well up here, than having to worry about the nut of the city and the expenses that are out the ass. You know, I mean, yes, you're getting a lot of traffic and you're getting a lot of people, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to the same small percent that everyone's taken. You know, it's just what bigger pot do you want it from, I guess, you know? So, yeah, but I really, you know, it was a really super, super honor that both the Cookery and Eugene's were mentioned out of the 8 restaurants.
Eight that just got them in
and
Westchester.
they're so awesome, you know, Maria and Southern Table, like they're great places in Westchester. So,
so you didn't know before they announced, like you found out the same
but
time.
Twitter knows that was it. Yeah,
That's cool.
It's crazy that you just get a little Twitter notification. And you're like, is this real? Is this a thing? I don't even use Twitter anymore. What are some of the other places that you like to go kind of frequent that maybe are notable for people that are in this area listening?
You know, I like to go to, let's see, I love Pulpatina right here in Largemont. Good friend, an amazing restaurant. Obviously, Peter Kelly's restaurants I go to all the time. My favorite Italian restaurant outside of mine would probably be L'Inizio in Ardsley. Scott Frangelico, amazing guy, amazing chef. You know, it's. I'm not out to eat much, to be honest with you, and sometimes, most of the time, it's sushi at home. You know, I really don't go out that much anymore. I'm kind of busy right now.
It's the same. I rarely go out. He's always asked, "How come you don't come visit me?" I was like, I don't go out to eat, man.
I was gonna say, I think in one of the Netflix specials, David Chang, he gets home and he just like throws a ramen in the microwave. He's like, "This is the shit I eat when I'm home. Like, I don't want to cook anything. I've been doing this all day. Like, I just have these noodles in the microwave. Let's go."
Yeah.
I have some questions that came off the Instagram post when we said we were gonna have you here. So I'll shoot some of them at you. One of them cool. I'm behind because I definitely want to know the answer. But we'll start with the first one. What has been your favorite event? What has been your favorite event thrown since you started cooking?
My favorite event thrown?
Yeah, I don't know if
I've threw events.
Yeah, have you thrown?
Or maybe events that were thrown by things that you showed up to.
Yeah, or any event that you've done.
I would say, like, I don't know if it's Cooktoberfest or Mother Shucker.
Okay. All right.
Do you guys need a you never came to one of those?
No, definitely never been to either of those.
Divulge.
That was great. Like there was we started with Cooktoberfest, and that was it was like we just felt like we were gonna have like, you know, Oktoberfest, but let's do something that the Cookery would do. And then I remember Captain Lawrence was, I think, just getting started up in
Elmsford.
Elmsford is the, yeah, right. So we were kind of working together on, you know, making some events and doing catering and whatnot. And so we said, let's do Cooktoberfest at a brewery, you know, and let's do our own shit that we would want to do, make our own sausages and whatnot. And it turned into this big thing that we did like annually, and a lot of people would come and we would have a lot of fucking fun. I mean, the first one, you know, it was so weird because like I just kind of do shit sometimes, and like I said, we do it because we're passionate about it. The first Cooktoberfest, we had my favorite punk rock band, Jukebox Romantics, right? They actually played at it, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?" It was amazing. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
There you go.
And Mother Shucker was?
That was an Oyster Fest, and a reason for me to say Mother Shucker.
Fantastic.
I saw that T-shirt somewhere.
Yeah,
I was like, this is the best T-shirt.
I needed to promote that somehow.
All right, next question. Why did you get rid of the pork donut at the Cookery?
I had that donut. It was
and
super good.
And I agree if it's not there. I went with my wife and I couldn't get her to eat it.
So the first time we had that was at the Hudson Valley Paired
At
event.
the Paired,
Yeah. So we had that, and we also had the Twinkie. You guys did the Twinkie, right?
Hold on. I think, can I have help
Sure.
with answering this question?
Sure.
Yo,
Hold
why
on.
did we get rid of the pork donut?
Oh, nice.
Oh, phone a friend.
Yeah, we're gonna phone it in.
That's great.
Hope she answers.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yo, hey, listen, you're on speakerphone. I'm on this podcast.
Waiting on fries.
Waiting on fries. So you're on air right now?
I'm on air?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're on air. This is Chef Sajan, everyone.
Hey.
Sajan.
Hey there.
What's going on?
So they're asking me questions that were posted on Instagram, and one of them was, why did we get rid of the pork donut?
Oh, and you're putting this on me.
I don't know how to answer that.
The donut has been on for several years.
Be-
And we're just
be
making
diplomatic.
space for something else super fun and exciting that will be coming out soon.
Oh, so
That was really diplomatic.
really
That was
does.
really diplomatic.
Donut.
It doesn't have a replacement just
You can
yet?
still get the donut as specials for brunch, so you got to come in for brunch and get it.
Yeah, we have lots of donuts
There you
everywhere.
go, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It'll show its face here and there. We're just making some room for some new songs, right, Sage?
Yeah, we got new stuff coming out. We got it.
All
Gotta
right,
keep it fresh and new.
all right. Thanks, girl.
Word,
Bye.
I do like that quote though. I did note that, or I've seen you say that quote there with the songs, right? With the
Yeah,
menu.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, we got the classics, but we got to still have some new songs coming out. every
Oh
once in a
God,
while.
everybody always wants to hear cauliflower ravioli. Fuck.
Play the hits. Just play the hits. All right, last one. When is Chef Dave going to drop the Rock album? That's from Sammy J.
Drop the Rock album.
Sammy J, send that in.
That's Sammy Jimenez. No.
Yeah, Sammy, yeah.
Oh. I don't know what that means.
I don't know either.
I guess if people want you to
Should,
release an album,
should we Google it?
Do you have a musical background or no?
Not really. I've been a struggling guitarist for a long time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I did play drums in high school. Yeah, high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that possibly the reference?
Yeah,
When
no, if
you-
I wasn't
when
going to
you
be a
drop the
chef,
record?
I'd be a rock star. Yeah, that's
There you
what
go.
I always
Just
say.
one of the two.
Yeah, yeah.
The people are fortunate that you're a chef.
Yeah. Just go ahead and be a rock star.
What do you have anything to plug for the people? Where to find you? Specials that are going on in the cookery? Or the
Any cool
Parlor,
events coming up?
Eugene's?
Special. Oh yeah, we got Valentine's Day coming up.
what are you doing for Valentine's Day?
What do we got? A prefix menu at the Cookery. The Parlor is just open, and sometimes that's just better, right? And then Eugene's actually just open, and we're going to be doing some like fun 4-2 stuff, probably some decadent meat pies and whatnot. But yeah, I think those places like to just be, and people like to go so they can just be, But yeah,
If you're
but there'll be
booking,
heart-shaped margaritas at the Parlor.
nice.
They're really beautiful too. Really pretty.
If you're looking to go out on Valentine's Day, don't pull a me and wait until the last 3 hours to try to book a reservation
Yeah, you
because
definitely
they'll
don't
all
want
be
to do
gone.
Why do you go out on
Unless you're you and you call me, then maybe we
There we
can
go.
work it out.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah.